Good afternoon, pilot teachers, and good afternoon, students.
Good afternoon, Ms. President.
Thank you. Sit down. As I've mentioned, we are concluding our work on the booklet on Java. And our lesson today will be basically revision, and we're going to do some revision activity or exercises to finish off that particular booklet. We still have one more booklet to look at, and that is the booklet on Papua New Guinea. And the booklet will be covered perhaps in the other lessons. But for today, to conclude our work on the booklet on Java, we will look at the revision activities or exercises that have been prepared. Okay, looking at the information from our monitor, we started off now from the very beginning when we were looking at the case study on Java by generally getting to recognize the country, its landform, and the countries that are sharing a common land or sea boundary, and also the countries within the Southeast Asian region, simply because the country of our case study is also located within that area. From that particular map, you will be required then to answer maybe one or two questions, and then the other revision questions, they will be based generally on the work we have covered, and some questions that we are going to look at are generally what we call general knowledge questions. So without further ado, we are going to go straight ahead now with our revision. I'll give you time for the completion of the questions, and then we'll get students to volunteer to give the answers for those different questions. Okay, we'll start. On the monitor, the first 5 questions. If you would like to discuss with the person sitting next to you, you can do that to come up with your answers. Question number 1, name the countries or country that share a land boundary with Indonesia. Question 2, the island where a new country was created as a result of recent conflicts. Name the capital city of this country. So question 3 relates to question 2. Question 4, what is the major religion practiced in Indonesia? Number 5, name the island in Indonesia in recent conflict with terrorism. Question 6, what is the official language of Indonesia or in Indonesia? And question 7, when did Indonesia gain their independence? Okay, those 7 questions, I will give you at least 10 minutes to work on, and then we'll get answers to before we move on to looking at population pyramid for Indonesia and questions to do with population pyramids. Okay, we go back and you discuss, come up with your answers, write your answers into your exercise book. Okay, we'll look at the correction to these questions, and then we'll move on to the other activities on population and population pyramid. Question number 1. We'll start with the boys from the back of you, and we'll come around this way to the front. Could you please read out question 1 and also give the answer for question 1?
Name the countries that share a land boundary with Indonesia. The countries are Philippines and Papua New Guinea.
Philippines and
Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea. Let's check. Does Philippines share a land boundary with Indonesia? Definitely not. The country Philippines is in red. Indonesia is in the brown color. Actually, no land boundary there. A sea boundary, definite. Land boundary, no. Papua New Guinea, we happy with Papua New Guinea?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Indonesia and Papua New Guinea. The color dark green towards the far eastern side here is the country Papua New Guinea and the province of Irian Jaya in Indonesia. So obviously, Papua New Guinea is the correct answer, not Philippines. Any other countries beside Papua New Guinea? Any other countries beside Papua New Guinea? Salesi?
Malaysia.
Okay, Malaysia is definitely correct. If you look at the yellow color here, on the island Borneo, Kalimantan is the province in Indonesia. Meanwhile, Sabah and Sarawak are the 2 provinces in Malaysia. and they share a land boundary definitely with Indonesia. So Papua New Guinea is correct, Malaysia is correct. Any other countries beside Malaysia and Papua New Guinea? Brandon.
Brunei.
Okay, he says Brunei or Brunei, let's check. Does Brunei share a land boundary with Indonesia? No, it does not. It does not share a boundary, a land boundary with Indonesia, but it does share a land boundary with Malaysia. So Brunei is not correct. So we still have Papua New Guinea and Malaysia. Any other countries? Yes, Val? Okay, Val has thought of one more country. Sorry again?
East Timor.
Yeah, definitely correct. East Timor has been declared a country on its own very recently. So those are the three countries that actually share a land boundary with Indonesia. Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, and the island of Timor divided into west and east, and the western part is part of Indonesia, and the eastern part is a new country on its own. Okay, that's question 1 done. You do your corrections. Let's look at question 2. Renagi, read out question 2 and also give us the answer for question 2.
The island where a new country was created as a result of recent conflicts is Timor.
Okay, the island is definitely Timor. We have just discussed that when we were looking at question 1, land boundary, and maybe we are already made aware of that now from what we have looked at. So Timor is definitely correct. It is the island where a new country was created recently as a result of recent conflicts. Question 3 relates to question 2. So if we know now that a new country has actually been created from the island Timor, West Timor is part of Indonesia and East Timor is a country on its own, what is the capital city then of this country? Question 3, Adam.
Name the capital city of this country. West Timor.
West Timor? No. West Timor is part of Indonesia. It is not the capital of East Timor. From the class, anyone from the class know the capital city of East Timor? Silo?
Dili.
Okay, Dili is definitely correct. Here we are looking at the island Timor. Western part is part of Indonesia. The eastern part, the capital is Dili, spelled with a D-I-L-I. Okay, question number 4. Terence, and also give us the answer. Read out the question and give us the answer for question 4.
What is the major religion practiced in Indonesia? Muslim.
Okay, the major religion practiced in Indonesia is the Islamic religion, and the followers of the Islamic religion are the Muslims. Okay. So Islam, the followers, the Muslims, yes, correct. About 60% of the people in that country are Muslims. They follow the Islamic religion. Doreen, question 5 and the answer to question 5.
Name the island in Indonesia in recent conflict with terrorism. Bali.
Okay, good. The answer is simply Bali, and that we have actually heard over the radio, on television, on the happenings of that particular country related to terrorism around the world. Okay, so question number 5, Bali is the answer. Question 6, Marian.
What is the official language in Indonesia? Bahasa.
Okay, Bahasa is definitely correct. It's Bahasa Indonesia. That's the language, official language in that country. Bahasa Indonesia. Question 7, Kiran.
When did Indonesia gain their independence? August 17, 1945.
Okay, very good. October 17, 1945. Okay, 1945 is the answer for the year that Indonesia gained their independence. Okay, that concludes those revision questions. The first lot of the revision questions. We'll move on now to the second lot. For the second lot of revision questions we are moving to, they have to do with population. We have already discovered from our work on the booklet that Java is one of the most densely populated islands in the world. Java is also located in Indonesia, and it is one of the provinces of Indonesia. Some of the reasons for why Java is densely populated or also considered as the core island or the core area in Indonesia is because 1, it contains the capital city, 2, the soils on that particular island is very fertile, and 3, during colonial times or historical times, the Dutch concentrated most of their attention and effort on improving the infrastructure of that particular island. Therefore, that island is one of the most densely populated islands. We have a map on our monitor there, and the map shows us generally the distribution and density of the population on that island of Java. We already know also the population of this country from the latest information we've looked at is about 228 million people. One of the ways in which we can show population of a particular country is also using a graph, and that graph is referred to as a population pyramid. Okay, on the monitor now we have a sample of a population pyramid for Indonesia. And the source is from the US Census Bureau of International Database. And that population pyramid is one constructed for the year 2000. So that's very recent, giving us an idea about the general structure of the country's population. Let's look at the population pyramid and see if we can interpret information correctly from that particular pyramid by answering the following questions. First of all, let's recognize some of the important features on that particular pyramid. It is important when we have a population pyramid that there is a title. From the title, it must also tell you exactly what year the population pyramid is actually for. Because every year, or maybe every 5 years or every 10 years, the population pyramid is likely to change because population changes. Here we have the title Indonesia 2000. Note, on the vertical axis, and the vertical axis can actually be drawn in the middle, separating information for the male on the left-hand side and information for the female on the right-hand side. Or the vertical information, which is showing us the years, perhaps individually or in groups, can also be written on the sides of the pyramid. Not horizontally, vertically from top to bottom or bottom to top. For the case of this example, the years or the age group is written in the center, separating the two sets of information. On the left side of the population pyramid, you must always have information on the males constructed in percentage. On the right side, you must always have information on the female population or age grouping in percentage. On the horizontal axis, we have information on population, and here, for the case of this example, it is population in millions. You could also have percentage of the population given also at the horizontal axis. Ensure that you are able to identify whether it is percentage or it is the population by looking at the label for the horizontal axis. And for the case of our example here, we have population in millions. The age groups, for our example, it is given in different groupings. It is not given individually. What do I mean when I say given in groupings and not done individually? If it is in groupings, that means it has to give a range between what year to what year. And for the case of our example here, it is 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 15, until we come to 80 years and above. If the age groups were given singly, then we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds up until we come to the 85-year-olds. Okay, looking at the population pyramid now, let's see if we can answer the following questions. Again, I'll give you time for the completion of that work, and then we'll get the volunteers to give the answers. The first question on the population pyramid: what proportion of the total population of Indonesia consists of men aged between 20 to 24? Question 2: what proportion of Indonesia are men over the age of 70? Okay, we'll have those two questions first. Let's come up with the answers, and then we'll look at the other questions. Okay, let me put the graph showing the full graph so that for those who are maybe not able to see the labels, especially on the horizontal axis, you could also make reference. Okay, we'll have the full graph there, and using the full graph to answer those two questions. Okay, let's come up with the answers for those two questions, and then we will move on. Luisa, question 1. Read out the question and your answer for question 1.
What proportion of the total Indonesian population consists of men aged between 20 to 24? 11.4 million.
Okay, if you did have 11.4 million or 11 million, you can definitely give yourself a tick. Good. For as long as your answer is not over 12 or 12 and above. Okay, it is this sector here or this section for 20 to 24. So if we rule down, it will be about 11, 11.4, 11.5. Question 2. Silo, read out the question and the answer for that question.
What proportion of Indonesian are men over the age of 70? 3 million?
3 million? We all happy with 3 million? Anyone disagree with that answer? Gideon?
Approximately 1.75 million.
Okay, here's another alternative. Approximately 1.75 million. Mason?
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million. Okay, let's double check this one together and see which of those is the closest for us to come up with an answer. Okay, we're looking at men over the age of 70. So if we look at our population pyramid, that will be 3 bars or 3 columns that we have to look at, because we have the age group 70 to 74, 75 to 79, and 80 years plus. We're looking at 70, which is the green color down. It's about 1 point. We'll put it at exactly 1. Yes, okay. So there's 1 million. if we read from the edge of the green bar here, showing us 70 to 74, down to our scale, it will be 1 million. That's for 70 to 74. Okay, that's not all. Let's go to 75 to 79, about 0.5. Okay, and finally 80 plus, about maybe 2.5 or 0.3. We'll have that. Okay, let's say 0.3, 0.5, 1 million. Add those up. What do we end up with? We said 1 million. We have 1 million, 0.5 and 0.3. Oh, hang on. Okay, here 0.5, 0.3. We'll have it as just 0.3 to the maybe nearest 10. And what do we end up with? 1.8 million. Okay, so the nearest then to that 1.8 million will be 1.75, yes. Okay, so approximately for men over the age of 70, it is about 1.8 million. Okay, we move on. Some more activities this time. Question 3. We're looking at the female population now of Indonesia, and the question reads, what proportion of all Indonesian women, it's supposed to be, or female, are over the age of 70? I'll repeat that question, and we'll make an amendment to that question. What proportion of Indonesian are female over the age of 70? Okay, that's the question. What proportion of Indonesian or Indonesia are female over the age of 70? Okay, if we are going to do the same thing, we can double check now on the answer to that question. We'll start off with, again, finding the age group 70 to 74, 75 to 79, and 80 years plus. Okay, the first information there will be 2 million. Okay, record that, 2 million plus 1 million plus 0.5 million. Okay, let's go. 2 million plus 1 million plus 0.5 million, and what is the total? Okay, so that means over the age of 70, the female in Indonesia, there are 3.5 million. Let's make a comparison with the male population, and we are going to find that there are more females over the age of 70 compared to the male population. Okay, having done the work for over 70 years, male and female, let's look at the next question now. And the next question is on the monitor. And the next question is, what proportion of all Indonesians are over the age of 70? The question on the monitor now, what proportion of all Indonesians are over the age of 70? Moses, your answer. This should be a simple question.
Uh, 5.8.
5.8. Francis disagrees with you, so he's going to come up with an answer. Francis.
5.3 million people.
5.3 million population. We all happy with 5.3? Okay, Francis, can you explain to us how you got 5.3 for the answer to that question?
I added both male and female total population.
Okay, good. We have already done the male population over 70 years. We have done the female population over 70 years. The question on the monitor would like us to look at what is the proportion of all Indonesians who are over the age of 70. We add those two together and we end up with 5.3 million people. Okay, we move on. Question 4 and question 5 from the monitor now. Question 4 reads, explain why the base of the particular graph or the population pyramid is wider than the apex. When we look at the general structure of a population pyramid, the pyramid has a base and it also has an apex. The base is closest to where the horizontal information is actually recorded or placed. And the apex is the topmost part of the pyramid. So the top part here is referred to as the apex. The bottom is referred to as the base. For question 4, you are to explain why the base of the pyramid is wider than the apex. And for question 5, remembering what you have already covered perhaps in grade 10, the word dependency load, by looking at that population pyramid, would you be able to describe the dependency load of this country? Okay, I'll give you 4 minutes and then we will go through the answer for those two questions together. Okay, let's look at the answer to those two questions. We ready for the answer? Okay, question number 4. To read out the answer question and also give us an answer for that question. Patrick.
Explain why the base of the pyramid is wider than the apex. Because the base contains the rates than the death rates at the apex.
Okay, the first part of it, you definitely got it right. Yes, when we look at the population pyramid, we can identify whether a country has a high birth rate or a low birth rate. To look at the high birth rate or to look at the low birth rate of a country, we look at the base of the pyramid. For the case of the example on the board or on our monitor, this particular country's pyramid is wider at the bottom and it gets narrower as you get to the top. So one can say that this country has a high birth rate. Why is the sides decreasing quickly and why is it that the top is small? That's the second part to the question that also has to be answered correctly. Susan, you're going to help in this one. The reason for why this country has a wide base is because of the high birth rate. How about the apex? or the top of the pyramid?
The top of the pyramid represents the old ages, as in 75 to 88 plus, and that is a high death rate because the bars on the apex of the pyramid is low. It represents low population.
Okay, she's got the idea, especially on the size of the bar. You will note that as you go higher to the top of that particular pyramid, what happens to the length of the bars? They decrease. The decreasing will tell us that there are a lot of people that are dying as you're going up to the top. So therefore, this country also has a high death rate. The apex is small because most of the people, by the time they reach the stage of 70 years and above, would have already died before they come to that stage. So life expectancy could be another of the features we can identify from this particular graph. If you have more people living over the age of 70, then we say the country has a longer life expectancy. If we have less people living over the age of 70, perhaps this country has a shorter life expectancy. Okay, finally, question number 5. Brendan.
The level, the dependency of Lloyd of this country is very high. That because of, as you can see on the monitor, on the base, it is very wide, and compared to the apex is very short. So that means the dependency of Lloyd is very high. If it is very low, that means the level of both male and female will be same. It will be very low.
Okay, that's according to his explanation. Anyone who might have a different explanation to what has been given by Brendan? Anita, from the front. Okay, perhaps while you're thinking, when we look at dependency load of a country, we are basically looking at the population of the country that are unable to support themselves in the sense of financially. In any country, the dependency load can be made up of young people, or it can be made up of the old people. These are the group of people who are not economically active, and they are dependent or they rely on someone to actually provide for them. You students of the school here, you make up the dependency load of our country because you are not able to support yourself financially. You rely on your parents to actually look after you. The old people who can no longer work and contribute to the country's economy, they also make up the dependency load of our country. If you look at Indonesia, Indonesia, as already described, is a developing country. So if it is a developing country, that means the population is greater at the base or at the younger age. Similar to Papua New Guinea, we have a lot of people who are in the young age group because of the high birth rate. So therefore, when we look at the dependency load of our country and also for that population pyramid, how can we describe the dependency load? Gideon.
It has a high dependency load of young people because there are more young people than old or middle age, and so they will have to depend a lot on them.
Okay, very good. Our answer to question 5 is simply, this particular country has a high dependency load of young people. If we just say a high dependency load, that is not correct, because the next part of it is going to be of what? So you must write down, according to what you can maybe interpret from the graph, a high dependency load of young people because of the wide base. Okay, we do our corrections, and that will also bring us to the end of our lesson. Okay, class, if you can stand up now, please. To the pilot teachers, our keyword for lesson 151 is Bali. Good afternoon and thank you, class.